Hey, did you know that TGSTS is on YouTube and Instagram? We'd love to hear your episode suggestions or just chat with you about life. So find us at hashtag TGSTS and follow, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you. Cheers.
Sometimes the criticism is that you live in fear or you live in there's a fear that you're living in ignorance, like you're not living in reality if you're thinking you can control the outcome of things or manifest things. Or I think there's a lot of disbelief as
Woo
far as
woo.
those things. Yeah, it's too woo. Everybody says, oh, it's a little
Hmm.
woo, but whatever. I live in the woo. Okay, this
Yeah.
is like, I love this.
I love
um
that in the
well,
woo.
hey Mo, how are you?
Hey, Em, I'm great. You?
Fabu fabu. I'm doing great. Yeah,
That sounds believable. Yay.
because
I'm
I'm actually
here.
feeling great. It's great.
Yay. You look great. You look beautiful,
Thank you.
glowing.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you? How are you?
I am good.
Did you get some coffee
Like,
in you?
yep, got some coffee. I'm
Coffee.
awake, alert, here. Still looking for
Yes.
a job if anyone's hiring. Also, shout out to myself, www.blackownedvegan.com. My site, check it out.
Who is that? Was it Snoop Dogg that was like, I'd like to thank my first, I'd like to thank myself for
Oh,
working
yeah.
hard. Remember that? That was like an audio that was
Right?
going around
People
for a
be
little bit.
forgetting. Shoot, I want
Yeah,
to
number
thank me.
one.
I'm my best friend. I'm my
Uh-uh.
best friend. Okay?
Ah! Oh my goodness. Are you though?
I
That's the
am.
question. I think that's the question. Do we treat
I
ourselves
wipe
like
my
we
ass.
are best friend? Oh, well, I mean, what are we
You should
talking
see it,
about today before we
y'all.
start going down the wipe my ass diaper
No,
talk?
no, no.
What are we talking
Well,
about?
well, you tell me. Let me stop. Why do we always do this? I just dropped something. Um, well, a lot of times we've been talking about alignment, and we thought that maybe for ourselves and for the audience, we like, what does that mean? So talk about alignment in our lives and what it means and how it expresses itself.
Hmm. So what is alignment?
I don't know.
I Googled
It's
it
just
because I'd be Googling.
yeah, it's just in harmony.
Yeah.
It's just when your physical, emotional, spiritual, everything is in harmony.
Being in tune
No,
with
like with your
everything.
body, homeostasis kind of. It's like what it's supposed
Oh.
to be.
This is, in the most basic of terms, spiritual alignment is the process of bringing your physical body and energetic body into
Hmm.
harmony.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that because as I was starting the yoga certification, that was the first thing is they defined what yoga is, and they asked
Hmm.
us like, what is yoga? And like the definition of it, I guess, the meaning of it, what is it? Oh, my sweater, is unity. And it's combining
Hmm.
your mind, body, spirit, everything into one. So that's, to me, yoga is alignment. That's a way of seeking alignment, is meditation, yoga, that type of a thing. But
Definitely. I know for the breathing that you do in there,
mm,
yeah, and you try to get out of your head. I think that's part of like being out of alignment is in when you're stuck in your head.
mhm.
So yeah, that makes sense.
And what is, okay? So what's the concept of all of your internal mind, body, spirit matching or being in tune with what you're experiencing externally? What is that? Is that still
Isn't it the
alignment, or
same
is
thing?
that
It sounds like you're just saying the same thing with different
okay?
words.
Because I'm thinking about this idea of alignment, and I think, in the last couple of weeks, I've really been trying to focus on these types of things. I don't know if that,
Mhm.
just more of like a spiritual balancing and like regulating my mental and like nervous system, and like just getting everything at peace. Um
Mhm.
I've been working on that stuff, getting aligned. I've been doing that a lot lately, and I think there's this fear, I think, when things start to go too well, when everything is working,
Yep.
everything's firing on all, you're happy. You know what I mean? I feel like alignment means happiness, like joy,
Yes.
like hey, this
Yes.
is, I'm walking in my truth. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm here for a reason. I found the reason. I'm doing this, and that's something we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, is like, trying to
Yeah.
find that. Um,
And if you want to get deep with it, it's like,
I
like
like it deep. Let's get deep.
it really, like the Buddhists and everything, and different religions, like Jesus, for instance. So
Hey, what's up,
Jesus,
Jesus?
Buddha, like all these different figures, they always say have reached this level of consciousness, like the highest level of consciousness that a human being could reach. And I feel
Hmm.
like that's part of it, is that alignment, like knowing your
Hmm.
purpose, walking in your truth, as we
Yeah,
say.
I
And
hate that. My truth, her
and
truth, living her truth,
it,
whatever.
because it makes sense though. I understand what it
Hmm.
means because so many of us don't. It's hard to live your truth in this capitalistic world. So
Mm.
but yeah, thinking about those images, like those higher sources of consciousness, it makes sense.
Hmm. I always struggled with that term. She's, that's her truth, or she's living. And now I'm realizing it's not truth in the sense of truth and fact, that type
Yes.
of truth. It's truth of
Yeah.
like alignment of
Hmm.
your lived experience from your perspective, with your emotions, your truth, your perspective, your life, your alignment. And that makes more
Yes.
sense. And now I'm all about it. So I will be using that
Exactly.
term a lot.
Yeah. Unapologetically, because
Yeah,
that's
well,
my
I mean,
truth.
yes, that's another thing. I found a quote because you gotta be on Pinterest looking at quotes, and it says, "Be so aligned, nothing fucks with your vibration." And I feel
Exactly.
like that is my goal in life, is just to
Hmm.
be so authentic and so aligned with what I'm feeling and how I'm living and putting that out into the world. Everything to be so me that nothing can fuck with that. Like,
See,
you
mm-mm.
know?
I ain't never gonna get to that level, so I know myself.
That's the
So
goal, though. That's my
yeah,
goal.
that's the
That
goal.
would be amazing.
But I keep away from things that I know would take me out of that, like driving for me. Like if I had to drive every day, there would be road rage. I would just be a horrible driver, and I don't want to do that. So I keep myself from driving to manage that and not have to deal with
Road
that
rage.
misalignment.
Mm. What sets that? I've been thinking about road rage, and I think that's a weird thing because I don't experience that at all.
Hmm.
And I think part of it is knowing myself. I always leave very early for places. Hey, you want to cut me off or get in front? Go right on ahead. I'm on time, so I'm not
Hmm.
stressing. You know what I mean? It's not my fault you left late. But like my thing is like a lot of my life, I've learned about myself is I like to be prepared for things so that I don't
Hmm.
stress in the moment. So I don't have that oh shit kind of moment.
Yeah.
And that has a dark side, obviously, like anxiety and stressing over different scenarios and stuff,
Yeah. Just a different.
pre-stressing,
Yeah.
like pre-stressing
Hmm.
the things that could go wrong. And I think that's part of alignment too, is doing the work to figure out what your triggers are,
Hmm.
what traumas are, generational trauma, all that stuff, like figuring
Yeah.
that stuff out so that you can deal with it, not pass it on, and then live again, take another step towards living your truth, and finding your purpose, and being aligned.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean I think that's what everybody should be doing. Hopefully we came through the pandemic, everybody's talking about therapy now and stuff like that, therapy
Yeah.
and meditation and mindfulness, and like hopefully people are taking that seriously, because I feel like I don't know if you'll ever get to the end of it, but just continuing to work on those things
Hmm.
helps make you feel more um aware of what you're supposed to be doing to feel good and be
Hmm.
happy and be aligned. I don't know. That could be bullshit. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Man, that's good though. I feel like that's an improvement. Like that's you living your truth, getting closer to living your truth.
Yeah. I feel like that's been my experience recently. I mean, the last couple weeks, I feel like even if things are stressful, I feel like I'm approaching things differently.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the major things I've done is try to live in a place of gratitude.
Hmm.
Um, and look at things like, man, I'm doing all this fucking laundry. Well, you know what? I have a house full of people who have clothes, and they're able to go out and play in the mud and get dirty and do stuff like this. Is I could not be doing laundry, or I could,
Exactly.
who knows. But I'm trying to find the flip side of every coin when I start
Hmm.
feeling negative.
You
So
have to because that negativity takes you away from yourself. Once you're in a victim mentality, then you don't have
Hmm.
control over your own life.
Yeah.
So
And
if
it's
it's
misalignment. I mean, you can feel the difference between moving towards alignment and oh, we off the rails.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely part of it is because once you're misaligned, it get
It's a
like you said, yeah,
mess.
it's like a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And I have to say too, hormones are a piece of it too. Like I don't know
Oh
how much
Lord.
spirit can help with hormones because it's like even though every month I know my cycle's coming every month,
Mm,
there's that week before where it's like the world is falling down, and there's the
you
older
know
that
it.
yeah, the older as I've gotten older, I realize that's what it is.
Hmm.
But it's still like the feelings and understanding how to cope with it when it happens. But those feelings are just, it's always something new. It's always something different.
But you know what it is now, and I think that's a
Yeah.
positive. I mean, look at me trying to find a silver lining. But no, I mean, I can relate. Same here as we get older. It's like, whoa, like I never experienced these things when I was younger, but now it's like I am mood swinging, like we are swinging, like things are
Yeah.
getting out of control. But I can stop in that moment and be like, oh, I know what this is,
Hmm.
and then from there you can make choices, you can adjust, or you could just give yourself grace and rage out for a second, but you're aware, and I think that awareness is a huge piece of it.
Yeah, because it's again that control. You're able to, it's having control over your own life because you're aware of
Mm,
what's going on. It's not like something has taken a hold of you and you have no control.
mm-hmm. So you mentioned, I'm going to try and say this, synchronicity.
Yes.
What is synchronicity? That's a
That's
big old word.
that's like the highest form of alignment when you're when things sync up, when the universe syncs up in your favor almost. Have you ever thought about someone and then they called you?
Yes, all the time. I feel like I have some kind of weird, I'm not going to call it weird. I have, because I feel like it's like a gift.
Yeah, don't judge
But
it.
I have this power, or this like thing that happens. Maybe I'm really good at manifesting stuff. I don't
Mhm.
know, but I mean, that has happened ever. Like I can remember times when I was in my youth and I would think of somebody, or my 21st birthday. There was this dude that lived on our floor freshman year, and I'm 21 now, so it's 2 years out the dorms. And I
Mhm.
remember saying, I hope I see Phil Freeman. I don't care. He don't know. He don't listen. I hope I see Phil Freeman. I don't know why he would, because he was an aligned individual. This guy was like he was just positivity, sunshine,
Mhm.
whatever. And for some reason I just really wanted to see him. Not like it was a thing, but
Mhm.
just hey, it would be cool to see that dude on my
Yeah.
21st birthday. Hadn't seen him since freshman year. And then I go into a liquor store to buy my first alcoholic beverage or whatever with my friend. Who walks in? Phil Freeman.
Feel free.
The fuck? Yeah. And I was like,
Tested
what?
that.
Yeah, but that's happened several times in my life I can think of,
Mhm.
where I've envisioned something, wanted something, um, and it's come.
Yeah. You
Presented.
manifested your husband, your family, so you got it.
That's amazing. It's crazy
Yeah.
how you can do that.
It's a
It's
gift.
weird. It's
But yeah,
weird.
those things like that, like thinking of someone and then they call you, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's seeing the same numbers over and over, or just
Mm.
kind of serendipitous types of events that happen in life. For instance, like you were saying, it's before the pandemic, I was experiencing that a lot in New York, running
Love
into
it.
people, just things lining up, stuff coming up, opportunities coming out of the blue. So it's in it, and the only thing that I could see that was different was that I was in some sort of alignment. There was no, I don't know who I am. I'm
No,
n-
you knew who
not.
I know who I am. We have that recorded several times. Mo talking about I know who I am.
Because it felt so good because I didn't before. So it was like, I finally know. Like if you said something like you meant this and I can say honestly I did not mean, like I know myself. I did not mean
Yes.
that. I can have what is it? Empathy, and I could care that it was taken a certain way, but I know what
But
was
that's not
coming.
how I meant it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Before I'd be like, oh no, and it's like I didn't know I didn't have that security in myself and being
Mm.
able to depend on myself and being able to take care of myself. So that's why I say my best friend because I wasn't for a long time.
How do you feel now? Do you feel like those things are true today?
Today, not, I mean, today I still have, right, not having a job doesn't help because it's like, how are you going to be living your truth? I mean,
Right.
it helps in a way though, because I'm lucky to have, be able to live without a job, but also just having that freedom
Mm-hmm.
is stress less. It's not as stressful. The stress of having to find work is less than the stress of work sometimes.
Damn.
So, so
That says a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. So really, when we speak of alignment, that's something that I'm focusing on with companies, with roles. If it doesn't feel natural, if it doesn't feel like something that I want to do, somewhere I want to be, people I want to be around, then it's
Mm-hmm.
not for me. You
Yep.
can't force that. I can't.
That's
I can't
wisdom. I
force it.
really do feel like that's wisdom. That's that comes with experience. It comes with age. Because
Hmm.
I know 20 years ago, do you think Mo would have been like, this isn't for me?
Mm-mm.
You would just be taking jobs
Taking the
and pissed
first
about it.
thing. Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And letting that,
Complaining.
again, letting that fuck with your energy and your
Hmm.
alignment and throwing you out of vibration. Like that's, yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing to learn on this journey is when you can stop living for other people, stop living for
Yes.
other people's expectations, stop feeling about yourself a certain way because you're not living up to their expectations or their needs, and finding out what your expectations are, what your needs are, and pursuing that. I think that helps with just being true to yourself, and you're happier. Like you're just
Yeah.
it feels good when you do you. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
when you're just like, this is what I like, period. And this is how I do it.
Exactly.
And yeah, it feels good.
It makes you more confident.
Yeah. Mm.
And it's like, how am I more confident? We talk about it all the time, but yeah, how am I more confident now than
Yep.
it's just that in that knowing, in that truth, and
Yeah.
in
That alignment.
alignment. Yeah, being in alignment.
Ooh. So what do you do though when you are in alignment or things are happening, things are syncing up,
Hmm.
and those negative thoughts, because those thoughts do come up sometimes. You'd be sitting there and things are just so good, and all of a sudden you're like, this is too good. This is Does that ever happen to you? Does that creep up? Like the fear of what when this all ends, if you think of New York, you said you were in alignment, everything was,
Hmm.
well, I mean, the pandemic did, something did happen.
Something did. That's what I'm saying. Something always happens. So I try. I mean, well, now I don't have a job, so I'm not really in that state to of alignment. So I can't
Mm,
say, what'll happen. So while I am misaligned, what I am doing is focusing on things to keep me aligned. The
mm,
podcast, the Black-owned vegan,
yes.
and, and looking for meaningful work and
Mm,
and fostering and building new relationships here in Philadelphia. So
mhm,
just trying to be as close to alignment as I can, trusting that the universe is for me, not against me, and
mhm.
that what is meant for me is for me, and I won't be left destitute at some point.
Never, never that. Never
Never.
that.
What about you? When you feel misaligned, what are some things you do to get back into alignment? Oh, and
I
bar. Love
cry.
bar.
I was kidding. I cry. Um, I I think I'm a very reflective person. I take a lot of time, quiet time, when I can grab it, to be in my head. I'm in my head a lot, and that's not necessarily a bad thing as long as it's not negativity in your head. So I try to see the positive in things, and that's something I think I've always done. I used
Hmm.
to be a person that goes with the flow, just kind of go with it, just kind of flow in, whatever. And I think as I've gotten older, more responsibilities, I have children, these types of things, going with the flow is not really part of what M's about anymore. but
Yeah.
um, but finding a way to kind of pull back and have solitude is a big help for me. It helps me to kind of recenter myself and remember, like, hey, like we started doing affirmations in the morning, me and the kids,
Aw.
like just, and I think, okay, this is, I wrote something in my notes or I did a voice note or whatever, but like living in alignment, I think that there's a lot of criticism. And I think there's people who maybe aren't where we are as far as this is concerned that may listen and be like, what are these bitches talking about? Um, and I think that sometimes the criticisms that you live in fear, or you live in there's a fear that you're living in ignorance, like you're not living in reality if you're thinking you can control the outcome of things, or manifest things. Or I think there's a lot of disbelief as
Woo
far as
woo.
those things. Yeah, it's too woo. Everybody says, oh, it's a little
Hmm.
woo, but whatever. I live in the woo. Okay, this
Yeah.
is like, I love this.
I love
um
that in the
well,
woo.
I live in that's a t-shirt. We live in the woo. but I think that, everybody, they talk about toxic positivity, whatever, but what's so bad? If I can change negatives around me, reality, quote unquote reality, or whatever, into positives, if I can make it fit into the truth that I see for myself,
Hmm.
the things that I believe I'm meant to do, meant to be, how I'm meant to move through this world, and it makes my experience here on this earth, my 70, 80 years, God willing, a better one, then why, who cares?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing anything to anybody else. I'm just making my life beautiful. And I
Yeah,
think
you're
that,
shaping reality.
right. And that's my truth. That's my reality, or
Mhm.
whatever. And I think we said on the podcast not too long ago, hey, you know what? Maybe I want to be ignorant to stuff. Maybe
Mhm.
I don't want to know, because you know what? Knowing is, it's the matrix. But I feel like if this is how I want my life to be, if I envision it a certain way, if it feels true to who I think I'm supposed to be, who I feel I'm supposed to be, then I'm just going to pursue that, whether it
Mhm.
looks cuckoo to somebody else. I don't know. I don't
Good
even
for
know.
you,
I
'cause
don't know.
it's not about them. But I said something, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to balance. I'm going to use our favorite word, but external
Hmm.
validation is required to
Yeah.
survive as a human being. You can't,
Sure.
it's impossible to survive without external validation.
Hmm.
If you don't buy my meat, you don't eat,
Ooh,
then I die.
what meat are you selling?
The
Everybody buy Mo's meat.
the vegan talking about really? No, you didn't. Man, we were doing so well. But I'm a butcher. I'm selling meat. You're buying meat. You know, you got to eat. I
How are
don't
you
sell it.
even making this example, and you're vegan? Like, why go there
Because
first?
it's just the easy one that people can relate to. And if you
Ooh,
don't, then I don't make any money. So,
right.
and die, you know, eventually from starvation. We all will. Um, in that case. So I don't know.
So maybe the lesson there is to make yourself something that people need. Do you need to do that? I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Explain.
No, that's just part of life is you're gonna have to somebody's gonna have to buy in at some point. People,
Yeah.
so it's always hard to not to think about that when you are living your truth. And you also want
Mm.
to be considerate. There are other things like social norms that, you know.
Well, but I do feel like
Correcting.
I can see when people are living in their truth and are aligned. You can
Mhm.
tell when a person is, and there's like an,
Gordon Ramsay.
again, energy. An energy comes off of
Yeah.
these people that
Mhm.
you want to be. It's attractive too. It's you want to be around that. There's
It's
something about
true.
it that make that, I mean, I don't know if you can find alignment through proximity, like, hey, you got your shit together. And I
I
do
think
think
that's
you
what people
can.
do. That's why, yeah,
Yes.
people suck their
Gurus
energy.
and stuff. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
So that's
But I
what was
mean, it's
happening.
beautiful.
Yeah, before the pandemic, when I was in that higher state of consciousness, that's what was happening. A lot of people, and also New York, by its nature, is a transient city,
Hmm.
so you have a lot of people from you suck up your own energy. So it makes sense. I know I said Gordon Ramsay because I've been watching Kitchen Nightmares, and he is just so confident. He knows his shit. He is so caring and thoughtful. He's like I'm just like, I want to meet this guy. And I usually never and I've eaten at one of his restaurants and hated it. So it's nothing to do with that. It's just
Hated
that
it.
hated it. It closed down too. Let me stop. Um, but yeah, I definitely would love to meet him. He seems like someone who's just walking, living in his truth. And
Hmm.
people don't like that. Like now I see people are like, he's not an asshole. If you watch that show, he's not an asshole.
Hmm. And
And
he's
it's
unapologetic about
exactly.
everything. Yeah.
He's sitting here trying to help you, trying to help people, digging in your
Hmm.
dirty frozen freezers and stuff. And
Your rotten food. Hmm.
right, nobody deserves to be fed that stuff. And the fact that he's mad about it is nothing to be upset about. That's on you. What about you?
That's,
Can you think of someone who exudes
I
that
can think of
alignment?
people like in my everyday life.
Hmm.
That I mean, and you know what? Just to clarify, it doesn't mean that people who are in alignment or when you reach a form of alignment that you're not going to be without problems or without stress or things like
Exactly.
that. Um, but it's just it's beautiful to see somebody like that. I know, I mean, I can tell I'm thinking of this woman that I know, but you know, I'm not putting all her
Mhm.
business out there, but she's
Yeah.
just even when she's going through stuff, there's a positivity that comes off of her. There is a happiness, there is a it'll work out kind of at like you feel it
Hmm.
just talking to her. Um and I think that in the moments when I do feel aligned, even when I'm stressed out, even if my calendar is booked and I'm going from here to here to do this stuff, it's not a chore. It's just I'm doing it. Like
Hmm.
you know, like I'm flowing from thing to thing. When I'm misaligned, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna be late. I gotta do, and I gotta reschedule. I'm not gonna go
Control.
to this thing, and you know, and it's crazy. But when I am aligned, and I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so let's do it. It flows, like it
Hmm.
just flows, and it's not an energy suck. Like there's again, it's energy. When you are misaligned, you are exhausted. Shit is
Hmm.
tiring. It's all a drain. And when you are aligned, it's not. Even if you are doing things that should fatigue the shit out of you, like you're just going and then you're resting when you need to rest and you know what I mean? Like it's just it's right. I
It's
don't even know.
sad because it really just sounds like taking care of yourself.
Pretty
That's
much
really what
listening to
alignment.
yourself, taking care.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it
Ain't
is.
that
And so
something?
many of us don't take care of ourselves. We forget
Mm-mm.
about ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
Or we don't even listen to ourselves. Like if your
mm-mm.
body is tired, rest. You
Hmm.
hungry? Eat. If you're sad, be sad. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of times we just kind of do things to numb those so we don't have to deal with it. And I think that's a
Yeah.
huge part of it is, you know, hey, I'm feeling, you know, and this is we all do this. I'm feeling feelings, I'm sad, I'm
Mhm.
gonna eat.
Yep.
I'm tired, I'm gonna eat. I mean, this is me at like 10 o'clock at night. Oh, I'm gonna eat this thing. Um, but just listening to what your body is saying and like honoring that and doing
Hmm.
what it needs
And
and
I
it'll
think
pay
that's
you
part of,
back, you know?
yeah, and I think that's part of the maturity or alignment, whatever you want to call it, too, is you ate something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give yourself grace, move, keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there and dwell on it because then the more you dwell on it, the more you lose control and you lose your sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's important too.
I mean, food is a big issue, and I think that's I mean, we're women, we're
Hmm.
at a certain age, and I'm sure we've dealt with different, before dealing with things properly, we dealt with them probably by feeding ourselves. That comfort, you know, I mean, I think a lot of
Yeah.
people can relate to that, men and women. Um, but I think now, I think my mindset is if my body wants chocolate, it's going to get chocolate. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I shouldn't have negative connotations with stuff. Like if I need to
Exactly.
have something at this time, that's I'm gonna have it. Like why am I depriving myself? I mean, there's a difference between disordered and like, you know, just listening to your body and
Hmm.
living. But I feel like that's the approach I'm taking with a lot of things. Like, hey, I really want to do this. Well, I'm fucking do it. Like who's I'm an adult, damn it. Like who's telling me I can't do stuff? Like so if I want to
Exactly.
eat this, I want to go here, I want to wear this, I want to not wear this, I want to whatever, like whatever it is, do what feels right for you.
Hmm.
And that's new to me to do what I want to do, what feels right to me regardless of what everybody else or my family or whoever is thinking. So that's a huge big first step into being aligned with who you are. Um
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
So this is really
Yeah.
just self-actualization then, reaching your fullest potential, reaching
Mhm.
your truest self as possible. I think that's the goal. And
Mm.
that's why I'm going to bring politics and things like that into it. That's why
Do it.
I don't understand these divisions and everything. When you think about it, that just shows you how different perspectives are. You have one truth, reality, you have other truths, so many different realities that we need something to go
Mhm.
off of, and we can't accept the way people live or things they do. And it's unfortunate people don't have control. How can you be aligned when you don't have control over your own body?
I I also, I mean, you brought up politics, and I think that there's something with alignment that works in that way too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my husband and I obviously have different views, different beliefs, and I think that when I am misaligned or maybe less matured in
Mm-hmm.
that part of me. We used to fight all the time about stuff, like, and I would be on Facebook fighting people. I got a keyboard warrior. Got to tell people they're stupid, whatever. Post all these things, these political things, all this stuff. I love politics. I love government, legal things, whatever. But I think the more that I am in tune with myself and know what I am about, the more I can. It's almost like namaste, like the light in me
Yeah.
honors the light in you. You can believe whatever you believe, and I'm starting to meet a
Mhm.
lot of different people. That's fine. I don't know what your journey has been through in life to get you to there. I don't
Exactly.
know how you were raised. Whatever. As long as you're not an asshole, we're good. It's okay. Like, it's okay for you to view things differently from me. And I don't know when we got away from that. Um, but we can still respect and honor each other. I mean, there's certain things that I can't get down with, but that's, a whole
Exactly. But
different.
that's the alignment
But
piece is being so, like you said, being so
it
vibrant,
doesn't bother me. Yeah.
something that, yeah, you vibe so high that nothing bothers you. And I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
The only things that do bother me is when people's rights are infringed upon and
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that. But just having a different perspective, I don't want to take your rights away just because you have
Yeah.
a different
No.
perspective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me too, it's like you believe whatever you want. Do you? Okay?
Hmm.
Just do you. I'm not out here trying to convince people. That's not my role
Yeah.
anymore. That's not
Just think
my.
about it. No two
Yeah.
people will ever have the same experience on this earth, ever.
Nope.
Even twins, nobody. Even those
Nobody.
double-headed twins.
Not them double-headed twins. Stop.
So it's just nobody's going to have the same experience on this earth. So why not just live your life to your fullest potential? And and the only thing that happens that I can think of is if somebody tries to take that away. So that is something when other people are, and I think those are external influences, like for younger people, it may be parents or something like that, um, or partners, friends. People still are living like that. Like we said before, high school never ends. So just important to understand that control as much as you can control and understand that controlling as much as you can control is part of being in alignment and
Hmm.
understanding that you don't have control over everything.
Yeah. And then understanding what you don't have control over. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, all of it is just understanding
Hmm.
and acceptance. I mean, life is what it is, and just accepting each day as it comes and doing you. I mean,
You only get
that
one
seems like
life.
that seems like such a simple concept.
Hmm.
But why is it taking so long to get to an understanding of that? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Capitalism.
it's I yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's just all the social constructs, all the things
Hmm.
that are set up, and you are raised in this system. And then, I think you go to college because you're told you got to go to college, right? You go
Yeah.
to college, then you get out of college and you go do whatever, you get a job. You're working for the man, you're doing all that stuff, and there's not a lot of time to reflect um on, does it feel right? Is this
Yeah.
right for me? Um
This is new. Like we just had one generation that benefited from that, or maybe one and a half from
yeah.
benefit from that, where you go to work and you can support a family. Boomers, like who else got that?
Yeah. But it's just not everybody's meant to do, like, I really do think not everybody's meant to go to college, right? Not
Nope.
everybody's meant to work an office job or a 9 to 5 or a whatever.
You
Not
talking to me,
everybody's,
girl?
well, I mean, not everybody, there has to be somebody to do everything. There's got to be
Hmm.
somebody to work the drive through at McDonald's. There has to be. There has to be somebody who is a plumber. There has to be somebody
I've
who's a
done that.
doctor. There has to be somebody who does all of these things. And
Hmm.
so not everybody is on the same path to quote unquote success that looks like a suit and a corner office and a whatever,
Hmm.
like, that's not for everybody. That's not for most, if we're being honest. So
Yeah. Where'd this come from?
what, this conversation right now?
The suit in the corner office.
I don't know. But I'm just thinking, I mean, that's what success stereotypically, looks like if
Mm,
you're working a corporate
yeah,
job or
Trump,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's for some people, success is like living on an ashram with like, you know what I mean? Like um healing people or
Hmm.
I don't know, all kinds of stuff. There's different things. And so it's just it's a the journey is finding that thing for you. You're not going to find it at
Exactly.
20.
And even if you do, a lot of time external factors, for instance, I saw
Mhm.
something where this woman said parents, she wanted to do drama or something like that, and
Mm.
parents said, nope, if you want us to
Yep.
pay for you to go to college, you're going to have to do accounting.
Mm.
And so that's what they did. And
And then
yeah,
she turns 45 and she's
so
like,
on some
F
reality show.
this, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go do, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that midlife crisis. They call it a midlife crisis. It's an awakening
Mhm.
or it's an attunement, getting into alignment. Well,
Think about it. We get 18 years of our parents raising us if we're lucky.
hmm
And then we have that next 18 years of us kind of society raising us.
hmm
And that's when you start to have those awakenings because then you start to raise yourself.
hmm
And it's that self-parenting or whatever you call it, the self-care, the different ways of saying taking care of ourselves and not just physically, but emotionally as well. And
and finding
understanding
ourselves. Who are
because
we
people,
without the external on us?
yeah, because people don't have self-awareness. It's bad out here. There's a lack of
It's bad
self-awareness.
out here.
So if you don't know who you are, you don't even, for instance, I always reference Kendra G because I watch her reaction shows. But on the Kendra G show, she asked people about their flaws, just to name three,
hmm
their flaws. And most of the women who go on there say, I don't have any flaws,
Ah,
or I love too much. I'm too giving. And
why?
that's a lack of self-awareness. And that's actually not good when you think about it, if you want to put a judgment on that type of behavior, because I just don't think about myself. It's everybody else. And then you wonder why.
Or they have an awareness, they're just being dishonest. That's what that
Yeah,
sounds like to me. You're being dishonest.
exactly. To say you don't have a flaw, like and they sit there and think, they really try to think about a flaw. And they
I
say, well,
mean, I could think of
right?
flaws easy.
Exactly. Same. So many of both, flaws and
And
attributes, whatever you call it. What is the
yes,
opposite of a flaw? But yeah, so I don't, there are a lot of the walking dead out here. And that's why they
The
say,
Walking Dead.
what is it?
Wow.
The mass of men live lives of quiet desperation or something like that. And that's one of those quotes. And
Say
it's such
what?
a
Say what?
morbid quote, but it's a lot of us. A lot of us are out here just the walking dead, zombies.
Damn. But I think that has a lot to do with what you were just saying. I mean, from 0 to 18, you're raised by your parents, their influence, etc. For the next 18 years, you're working, you're living for other people and trying to
Hmm.
establish yourself. It's a lot of codependency, I bet, in that second set of 18. I mean, both, but
Hmm.
you hit that midlife crisis, awakening, whatever. And some people embrace it and try to figure out who they are. What are my flaws? What do I
Hmm.
love to do? Who am I? That type of stuff. And other people trying to mask it. And I think that's when you get the people who are having affairs or buying cars or doing things to kind of
Hmm.
like avoid sitting with themselves and dealing with what's going on. And I think it's in those moments of I love to sit by myself and just ponder.
That's all I
But
do.
it's in that's yeah. I mean, I do a lot of this sounds so stupid. This is the most basic sounding thing. I do a lot of thinking, a
Hmm.
lot. Um,
Like I should have been a philosopher or something.
yeah, but like just deeper thinking of how to get to a better place, instead of uh fighting it. Like, hey, let's figure this out. What do I like
Hmm.
to do? What feels good? And I take my time with it. I'm not just going to jump into some shit just to
Hmm.
feel like I'm doing something.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've enjoyed getting to know myself. This is I like her.
Yeah.
She cool.
Told you better not be talking about my friend. Shoot.
Alignment,
Yes.
synchronicity.
Tease what it tease.
It
I
is.
just
This is interesting. It's an interesting topic.
it is interesting and it should be so simple. Just basically
Yeah,
take care of yourself, listen to yourself, and that's
it's so
okay.
hard.
It's so hard because you're not allowed to. That's what I think. Like that's why I
Yeah.
wanted that baby because it's like you're not allowed to for so long, and then you're trying to navigate figuring out, and you don't really trust yourself yet. Obviously there are people who are mature and they mature younger, of course, but this is just in general. In that middle, 18 to 36 age range of figuring things out. So it makes sense that
Hmm.
we are where we are.
Yep.
And then it gets the icks, that icky feeling.
Icky.
Icky. It's
Uncomfy.
uncomfy to think about these uncomfortable thoughts of me actually taking control of my own life and living my truth.
Well, because
Oh,
there's a lot of negative out there that's just like, okay, you're a narcissist then. Because people don't know what a narcissist is. They
yeah,
like to use that
exactly.
word. Or, oh, you're selfish, you're self-centered,
Hmm.
you're this. Yeah, you know what? I can be the center. I am the center of me.
Hmm.
Like, if I don't have my core together, how is my life going to be if I can't figure me out first?
Here,
But I
come.
think there's a lot of negativity around focusing on yourself, especially if
Yeah.
you are responsible, or if you're married, or if you have kids, or you've got aging parents. Like, yeah, I'm trying to think of my little
Hmm.
bubble here,
Hmm.
focusing on myself, which I'm very blessed to have people around me who are like, you need to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think I haven't focused on myself for so long, and they see the breakdown. You know what I
That's
mean? Like, there's
neglect.
a
Yeah, that's
yeah,
neglect.
neglect. Yeah, so everybody's kind of supporting me on this little trajectory that I'm on, or whatever. But for a long time, I think I was programmed, whatever, indoctrinated even with the idea that being selfless was an honorable trait, putting everybody before you, being the martyr, all of that kind of stuff. And it's just like, come the fuck on. Like,
Yeah.
people can't live like that. You can't
That's
live
what
like
that's what
that.
a woman's supposed to be. That's
Yeah,
traditional
yeah, yeah.
value. Yeah.
And you can't live like that.
And you can't
Even,
grill. You can only make the salad.
oh, that too. That's right. Women have no business at the grill. No, but I mean, even if you think about like the traditional housewives of the 50s and stuff, like they did all that stuff, but they were raging alcoholics, pill
Hmm.
poppers. They were fucked up. Like, none of it is what it seems. And I think the desire to find truth in alignment is even more meaningful when you realize that everything you've been fed or taught is bullshit.
Exactly. And it's just free, and you don't have to live in a lie. You don't have to
Hmm.
catch yourself, or you can just be yourself. I know I'm awkward, and I'm fine with that. It took me a time to get fine with it. And I don't even think I appreciate it. I didn't have self-awareness. I didn't appreciate how awkward I was. But now I know I can accept it and learn and just figure things out as I go, but give myself grace.
And
And
embrace that. That's part
yeah,
of who you are.
exactly. Not
Yeah.
put a judgment on it. And I think that's the thing
Yeah.
is putting judgments on ourselves, getting into that victim mentality.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is that, like you were saying before, the root chakra stuff,
Mm.
because I think that's the ultimate, like, what do you call it?
Security and
Synergy
the uh-huh.
of the alignment, because
Hmm.
that's going to
That's
get
where
you,
it
that's the
starts.
root. You need
Hmm.
that. So,
Yeah. And it's that
yep.
comparison. You were just saying awkward and not putting judgment. And the judgment comes from, hey, I'm not like that person over there.
Hmm.
And who cares about that person over there? You know what I mean? That person
Oh,
over there is
yeah, like
doing their thing,
99.999.
right? And for some reason, when you started talking, I was like thinking about being free. I was like, man, I've hit the age where I don't give a fuck if I'm wearing a bra or not in public.
Mhm.
And that's something so stupid and simple, but that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Come to Philly, we don't really do that. So there are no bras.
I mean, that's a huge I've been wearing a bra since I was 8 years old. So that's huge. 40, almost 44. Hey, let's let them for out. Not today. I'm not wearing one today. I can't
Yeah,
breathe.
you're allowed
So
to. But
that's what that
I've
is.
I shared this story before, but not everybody has listened to every episode, so I'm going to share it again.
Which you
And
should. You should listen to every episode if you have an opportunity
exactly.
to. Yes, please.
And then reference the episode that I was talking about this before, and then I'll have to go find it myself. So, but when I was young, I was running without a bra, and some man screamed at me, like, "Get it, girl!"
Ah,
And I
different
forgot why.
time.
I forgot why I was running without a bra, but I was kind of like holding it with my arms.
Mhm.
And and then that reminded me why I needed to wear a bra. And I'm like, that's sick.
For protection. It's for protection. You
It's
need
a
to wear a bra
shield.
to protect you from somebody else seeing something and thinking a certain thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's not for back support. It's not for anything but protection.
That's another topic we should talk about. I mean,
Okay.
just being a woman, like what that is, because that's men don't have to worry about that. They can run around their gray sweatpants with no underwear, running around, things flopping and stuff. We're not going to be like,
That
yeah,
doesn't hurt.
the cat calls. It's
Right?
been a minute since I had that happen to me, but yes, when that was happening often, that's crazy to think that that's the life we lived, that the place we lived in, the earth we lived in,
Mhm.
where you would walk past the stereotypical walk past a construction site and people would stop
Yeah.
and start whistling and talking about your this and that and whatever. I mean,
Yeah, it was almost to be expected. Then if they didn't, it's like,
yes. And you had to
oh.
brace yourself because you knew
You-
I'm walking past these men right now. I know they're going to say something,
Mhm.
which is like, why did you feel the need to say anything?
Yeah.
What does that do? What is that? You think I would be like, oh yeah, okay, let's go.
What do you call it?
What?
Vestigial glands. I guess it's vestigial behavior
That's
because it's
insane.
stuff that we don't need anymore, but we still have. Maybe that's how we made it back in the day. Calling.
That's how people got together. But I mean, living in your truth in alignment now, I wish somebody would. I really
Mm.
do. Say something to me. Holler at me and see what happens. I guess that's what it was called.
What's
Holler
gonna
at
happen,
me.
girl?
It would be different from before. I'd be like, oh Lord, or I'd ignore it and be shy. I'd be like, what the fuck you say? What?
Get out of
That's
my
how I
life.
am now.
That's your truth, girl. That's your
That
truth.
is my
Live it.
truth. Because I think I like literally for years lived in a timid I mean, I was just thinking the other day, and this I don't know if this has to do with alignment or whatever, but I went to a friend's house. I was
Hmm.
23, 4, whatever, to drop something off. She wasn't there yet. I think I've shared this story before. Her dad was there. Her dad was older.
Hmm.
Um, and I dropped it off for my friend. And he said, "Oh, come on in first." You know, it was a long drive, whatever. Come on. Okay, fine. I didn't know if anybody else in the house or whatever. He invited me in. Okay, sure. Right. Um, and then we were talking, catching up and getting to know each other, whatever. And then he was like, "Oh, he has a lot of wine. He had like this
Hmm.
huge wine wall or whatever." And he's like, "Hey, I was gonna open this. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Okay," like awkward. And now, as a grown woman, thinking my friend came at a certain point, and was like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "Why is she tripping or whatever?" But thinking about it, yeah,
The
that's completely
opportunity.
inappropriate. It's
Yeah.
completely inappropriate. But I was thinking, I'm a kid. I'm the same age as your kid. We're
Hmm.
kids. But I was a woman. I was 20 something years old. I was a woman in this house with this older married man,
Hmm.
and he was trying to give me wine. And that looks fucked up. That's not appropriate, right?
Maybe they were so aligned they didn't even see it like that, though. They were like, "I have a guest in my house. Here's
I
some
didn't see it
wine."
like that.
Oh, okay. You didn't see it like that.
I wasn't aware of that. I also was
Yeah.
just like, okay, sure. I'm just kind of being polite as
Hmm.
I've been trained to do,
Politeness. Whew.
whatever. But who knows? What if she never came? What would have transpired? Not that I was like trying to do something with this older
Yeah.
man or whatever, but just like what was that? And I feel like and along with the cat calls, what was that? Like I just was this was what life
Ah,
is. I'm gonna
got you.
behave.
You felt
And
the vibe.
now, yeah. And
Got you.
now I can see things better. I can
Hmm.
see things for what they are. This situation is inappropriate.
Hmm.
Thank you. I just came to drop this off. I appreciate it. No, thank you. I could say no, thank you. No, thank you for the wine. That was a really nice offer, but I should be going because that's just not, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something empowering about knowing yourself and
Yes.
maybe this you talked about the root chakra, your throat chakra, being able to open your mouth and say no, we're not doing that, or don't fucking talk to me like that, or whatever it
People
is you
are
need to
afraid.
say.
That's the
Yeah.
crisis of dating these days is people are afraid to say no. People are afraid to tell the truth. And then you get people like me who have diarrhea of the mouth, maybe, who live their truth and speak their truth. And then you have a limited field, limited um, pool because of
Yeah.
that. But it only takes one, like they say.
It only takes one. All it does, it takes one.
Mhm. If that's what you're
Yeah.
into, if that's your truth.
Yeah. I think that alignment has a lot to do with relationships too. I can tell definitely. I mean, when I met my husband, things were where they were supposed to be. Like I had just
Hmm.
stepped into where I was supposed to be and things started to just fall into place. Um, but I was trapped in something for so long that did not fit me, did not align with what I was supposed to be doing. Once I
Hmm.
broke free of that, it was like the universe was like, we needed you to make this step. Now you're here. Receive.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always viewed it that way.
When you
Yeah.
were aligned, yeah, when you were trusting yourself, living your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. The
Yeah.
universe listens.
Yeah. So if you listen to yourself, and this is, who are we to give advice or whatever? But I
What's
feel
that
like when
song?
you do listen to yourself and you give yourself permission to be yourself, um, and you honor yourself and you're living your life the way, your truth, I think that's when things fall into place. And you just
Hmm.
need to be open to receive it and know that you are deserving of it, you're worthy of it, and this is meant, like you said, what's meant for you will is meant for you.
Will
It
not
will
pass
come.
you by. Amen.
Yeah. But if you're trying to fit, okay, so there's this thing I'm sure you've probably seen on Instagram. I've seen it a bazillion times, but it's this meme and it's a puzzle. And there's one puzzle piece that cut its little end off. You know how they have those little like bloops that fit into another thing?
Yeah,
Cut it off to fit. And it's like, don't hurt yourself trying to fit where you don't belong.
exactly.
Like you don't belong there. And I think that's a lot of what 20-year-olds, 20s, maybe 30s are doing too. Like if it ain't right, it ain't right. You can't make this man or this woman stay. You can't
Yep.
make this job all of a sudden work for you. Like, and do, like if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Find
Dennis
what
Ross did
fits.
that too. He did a comedy about that too. You know, you can't fit, try to make the puzzle piece fit when it
Yeah.
doesn't. Get a square peg in a round hole.
Hmm.
And I think that's
And why are
about
you trying? Why are you
right.
trying to make
Look,
it
look,
fit?
you're preaching to me. I'm like,
I'm
man,
preaching to
maybe I
20,
can't be doing it.
27-year-old me. Why are you trying to make it fit? The piece is too small, boo. The piece is too
Right?
small.
That
It
is
don't
true.
fit.
It's too small for this greatness.
Yes.
Corporate is too small for this greatness.
Right?
Mm.
You're destined for bigger things.
Yes. You know, people always told me that as a kid.
Hmm.
They always said I was going to be famous. And I'm like, what? Why do you say that? They liked my name. Everybody
Yeah,
loved
you
my name.
do have a stage name. Like it's a famous, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'll reveal it if I ever become famous.
If I ever become famous, it's gonna be under another name.
Ooh, fun.
I gotta make up a name. It'd be
Maybe
Kate
I could
something.
be
It'd
Nikki
be
again.
Kate something. Oh,
Remember Nikki?
bring her back. Hey.
Nikki. I don't even remember Nikki.
Mm.
Like I
Think about
remember how
that.
she looked.
Think about that today. Maybe that's what you think about today. Who was
Yeah.
Nikki? Nikki
Nikki
was
was
having fun.
a
Nikki was out in them
girl.
streets.
Nikki didn't know who she was. She looked at TV and was like, okay, and other people and said, I guess this is how I'm supposed to be. And
Mm.
there was a battle back and forth, even with the hair. You know, sometimes I'd have a
Hmm.
little fro, sometimes I wouldn't. And
Yep.
the homeless guy told me I needed to comb my hair after I gave him $10.
And then he punched you.
No, that was a different one, my LA stories. But yeah, Nikki probably would have grabbed that $10 back, you know. I mean,
Mm.
Monique grabbed that
Hmm.
$10 back. Nikki was
Yep. Yeah. That's that voice. You found your voice.
hmm.
That's a beautiful thing
It
when we
is.
find our voices. It really is. I love it.
Okay, send me a memory of Nikki if you remember, because I don't. So I'm
Okay.
gonna reflect on it though today.
Okay. Sounds good.
All righty.
Okay, well, go live in your truth, boo.
Two, love you.
Love you
Bye.
too. Bye.